Um, Xavier, I think you kind of hit on this about our mood being influenced um, by music, and I kind of wanted to bring that to everybody. So, how does your mood get influenced, or is your mood influenced by different types of hip hop music?
Oh, absolutely. And I don't want to be that guy, but and I got to stay true to who I am.
Yeah, yeah,
You
definitely.
if you go back to the Bible days when you're dealing with Saul and David, right? And
Hmm.
the Bible says Saul had a evil spirit, that God had sent him an evil spirit, and David, long story short, came in and played the harp and played the spirit out of him. So in my mind, if you can play a spirit out of somebody, then you can absolutely play a spirit into somebody. And David was playing harp. It didn't have nothing to do with words, the lyrics. He was playing harp. It was just music. So it was all because the Bible said David had a heart after God. So if your heart is in trauma, or if your heart is putting on a persona like Travis and NeNe was talking about of doing this, because I think Prodigy from Mobb Deep, before he passed away, he was on the campaign exposing Hollywood, how, the contracts that people would have to take to confuse people, but they're really steering them in a whole different direction. I think, not to quote him, but Adolf Hitler basically said that if I want to control, a mass of people, then give me the current generation of youth. And to me, that's what they're doing. If my heart is after an agenda, then all I got to do is get in there, put a beat behind some lyrics, put a beat behind some stuff. And if I'm throwing this out to teenagers who has impressionable minds already, then I can get them to go in the direction I want them to go. And I think what Prodigy talked about, and a lot of people, try to say it's not true, but Prodigy also he talked a lot about the meeting that changed hip hop, where they had all of these executives and they had all of these people who owned the labels, and they invited all the rappers to this big house and basically told them, "Yo, this is the direction we going. We're gonna talk about drugs. We're gonna start talking about f the police and all this, that, and the third." And a lot of people, what they don't get, and I said Tupac is my favorite rapper. He's remembered for his 95 to 96 run with Death Row. But Tupac, when he came in, he wasn't on no thug stuff. His thug life meant the hate you give little infants F's everybody. So he was on some revolutionary type tip. But once he signed that contract with Death Row, then all of a sudden he went from a revolutionary to this gangster, which ultimately cost him his life. So I mean, I think that it affects the mood. And after that, in those 90s, you saw East Coast versus West Coast, all these young people, beefing with each other. They don't even know each other, just from different sides. And I mean, I think that that's literally carried on 30 years later with this generation. Their mood has been altered to think, I got to be a gangster. I got to be this. I got to be that, just so I can be cool, or just so I can make it into whatever I'm trying to make it into.
Hmm. Ruby, what you think?
Now hold up now. I follow you, brother, man. Now, but now these y'all said some things that got me thinking. Right? Said something about smoking. You know what I'm saying? Y'all said something about this. Now look here, dude. I'm a I'm gonna say some things, maybe some popular things, but I'm gonna keep it a buck with you.
Go ahead.
Definitely.
Starting with this weed thing. But speaking about weed and smoking and whatnot. Now, just taking someone else's personal preference and saying this is the right way, I don't think is always the right way to go with some things. Like 50 Cent, cool, he don't smoke. Cool. That don't mean we all shouldn't. I'm a chimney compared to most people, and I'm a highly productive, highly energetic individual. You feel me? I get a lot done. You feel me? Right now, having a professional interview with you guys. Now, that doesn't mean that I'm gonna just go out here and just go that. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of depends on the person. Now playing devil advocate a little bit with this music. Um, we know as humans that music alters the senses, the mind. We all knew that. War music, you know what I'm saying? We were chanting stuff before we went to war. You feel me? There's love music. You feel me? Now I think we're looking at a very narrow slice of hip hop. And then on top of that, I think that we are seeing things in different perspectives. Artist is just that. You feel, like you don't see Playboy Cardi saying political things back all the way. I'm not on Twitter or nothing like that. So if he says something, I don't know that. But beside the point, we don't see him saying vote for Trump or vote for this or do that and the third. I think some people are just characters, if you will. You feel me? Like if Playboy Cardi wants to make banging, like, raging music, let him make raging music. Why do we look at it like demonic all the time? You feel me? Like, why can't you just make what you feel to a question of the picture of the black culture, right? We either are athletes or rappers, and if we do become a rapper, we're supposed to do whatever we can to make the money to support the hood. Now, if we're supposed to play a part of the role, and hey, Slim sign this contract to do something, you may promote whatever to get this money for this, that, and third, to justify the means. You know what I'm saying? But then if we don't go along with the system, or we mature and we adapt and we see whatever we do, then now the whole game looks different. Because if you look at artists like J. Cole, he came to the game speaking Crooked Smile, all that workout and all that jazz. Now he's getting us hip to different things, and now he's looking, all raggedy. Pause. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying it. He ain't taking care of himself like, 50 Cent or something would. You feel me? He ain't wearing suits or nothing. That's what I'm trying to say. No, his Benz is dirty. His shoes is dirty. That's where he likes it. But yet we not looking at J. Cole like, oh, look at this bummy dude while we're not paying, while we listen to this man. So I don't know. Music is very. I think we're looking at things sometimes a little bit extrally. You feel me? That makes sense.
Wow.
I think I agree with you, Ruby. But at the same time, let's go back biblical for a second, if we can.
All right.
We know that the divine order gave Satan. He was the angel that had the music thing going on. Now, any part of the music, and people don't want to look at it like this, but if Satan was head of the music, that's God said himself he was, so God is not a liar. That means anything on this earth come out music got something to do with Satan in some type of way, shape, form, or fashion, regardless of how people look at it. And with that being said, some beats, like for instance, like I could be a person that's into what's that called? Gothic, whatever. And I'm making beats. Yeah, gothic. And I'm making beats. Different people can make beats, but they have a wrong spirit in them. And people don't, they fail to look at that too. Beats carry spirits. They carry different spirits. Now, me as a hip hop artist, I'm gonna be real honest with you. When I go to the studio and producers give me tracks, honestly, when I smoke weed and certain beats come on, my mind go a whole nother situation, to be honest with you. And I don't think it's the weed, but I think it's the beat, and what's ever in that beat is messing with the weed. It might sound crazy, but I mean, it just seems that way.
But you're a storyteller. You're supposed to feel something. You feel me? You're supposed to feel something. You feel me? I don't think you just, I don't know. I just think, okay, why don't we look at country music the same way then? If they are human,
the same way though,
and they go through struggles too.
Yeah, I look at country, I look at rock and roll, I look at hip hop, because I done been around all these folks. I've been in the studio with every type of artist you could think of. And when I see certain beats come on, I'm telling you, it alters the way a person starts feeling and thinking. I don't care what nobody say, because people can go into the studio just as calm, and then you put a certain melody beat on, you're gonna be like, yeah. But then you put some other type beat on, now they want to talk about killing folks. Something in that beat made them want to talk about, I'm finna go kill this person, I'm finna shoot this person, to go around the block, smoke 2 blunts, come back and kill 2 more people on this track. So I'm gonna always say it's something in the beat, like you said, Ruby, like it programs us. That's, for instance, like if you people that they say that hit songs on the radio, there really don't be no hits. It's the fact that they steady playing it constantly, and now we all know the damn song and the lyrics because we're programmed by it. I can't say it's the weed. I'm gonna say these young folks that I done been around with, if they just truly just smoke weed and nothing else, we can't say nothing. But they don't do that. They smoke weed and add stuff in the weed, and then they pop pills and add stuff in the drink. And this is why mentally they're gone after that. And honestly, we don't got nothing to do with it. It's the people that do more than weed to add to it. Cause you ain't never known nobody to smoke weed to go kill somebody.
But are we
If
not?
they just smoking weed.
But are we not? So if the artists are getting paid by the industry that may be, are we thusly not the problem because we're the consumers of it?
You said, are we not what, Rudy?
I'm sorry, are we thusly not the problem also because we're the consumers of it? We're
I
basically
mean, we
telling them
buy
that
it.
it's okay without.
Yeah, I think
Travis,
we're part of the problem because we adding on to it. We saying it's okay if we going to the concerts, if we buying their music, if we telling people about their music. We are definitely playing a role in this. We can't leave us out. Yes, indeed.
Travis, what you thinking?
I think that all things considered, yes, I believe that the industry plays a very major part in regards to the influence because they are capitalizing off of it all. They know that in terms of the beats, in terms of the chanting, whether it be gothic chanting, whether it be emo chanting, whether it be, evil spirits. I believe that all of those things contribute. And we dare not have this conversation without making mention of Illuminati because we kind of dance around, but really that's a huge part of the concern in terms of the dark side of the industry. Whatever the name of it is, it's the actions and the modality that is happening behind the scenes that is causing us to feel what we feel when we hear the music. And then, of course, when we add in, it doesn't have to just be ganja. It can be a sip of wine, and it could be beer, whatever your thing of choice is. It just enhances and alters. That's the whole purpose behind the beat, behind the preparation. And when the young lady, when NeNe talked about like that programming, that really hit me in my gut. Being a musician, being a minister of music, for so many years, being a songwriter, and from an early onset, just having the dream, the goal, and the desire to perform before millions and to break through into Hollywood. But then as you learn and as you mature, as you listen to these things, YouTube is a wide open platform, and so it gives you the opportunity to tap in and to look and to see what's going on out here in this music industry. And when you hear things about the programming, like after you've heard it a time or 10, like you really begin to say, hey, this is a reality. This stuff is really, really happening out there. So I just really wanted to say, NeNe, like that really, like when you talked about it, it like really painted the picture. Like I can really see how that's a real thing.
I mean, bro, honestly, like I've been in the industry 25 years and I know things. I know a whole lot of things. And I just wish I could share it with the world because without having to look over my shoulder.
Yeah.
Or without having my family compromise or put in a position, because I do got an A-listed star daughter. And I talks to her about it and she knows. But at the same time, Illuminati is real. Ain't nothing fake about it. These meetings that they have at 1 o'clock at night, they have, I'm going to tell y'all this because I'm not afraid to say this here. They have these meetings and they have to meet up at this particular lake. And everybody in the music industry have to go. Have you ever said to they're going to go to this island? It's an island. And they have to go to these meetings. And in those lakes, they're literally worshiping Satan. Literally, like he is their God and he is this, and then he tells them, "You're a God. You're not a God. You're nowhere close to a God." And they have to do these things. And if you notice, a lot of artists in the industry, they have to wear black and red, I believe, like 3 times a week. So if you notice, you see a bunch of artists maybe in black or red, and even when they come to the Grammys, they have to do these things. This is part of it. And when you decide to come into the industry, there's different type of contracts and there's different type of things you have to do. And I'm gonna say this here. For instance, if you go sign a contract, you got it to where you can give a disease out. You might not have to go kill nobody. You might not have to go sacrifice nobody, but you have to go give a disease out. Usher, for example, Usher is a prime example. Usher have herpes, and he have his sacrifices because you never know Usher to sacrifice none of his family members. You never know Usher to do that, but his sacrifice was to goddamn go get that disease out. So if y'all notice, the girl, the I'm not gonna call her hood, but I'm just gonna say she was definitely not Usher's type. And for him to give that woman herpes and plenty other women, he didn't give it to the women in the industry. He went to the hood and gave it to them. That's one way you can do it. Another way is sacrifice the family. Another way is sexing, homosexuality. I don't condemn no one. I'm not God. People got their own preference. But that's another way in. And this is why it goes to the mental thing. Young Thug. Let's go to Young Thug. Young Thug, when he came in, if y'all remember, he clearly said, "Yeah, I had to suck Birdman's dick and I got on." Y'all remember that?
Yes.
Or y'all don't remember that?
I remember that. Yes.
Definitely.
Young Thug said this, but all the while he got a whole baby mama and all this stuff going on. But like it goes back to what he said. This is what they're doing to get on. So mentally, they are being attacked by not just the industry, by demonic, by programs, by drugs, and by these contracts that they're signing that they have to do. I mean, I can go on and go really deep with it, but this ain't the time for it.
Right.
Well, that's deep enough.
Oh, you're right. I wanted to say something so bad. I was like, because I'm like, look. Like it makes me ask two things, like question a lot. All right, now look at stop. Go sit down. Keep bringing this dogs and balls, man. It makes me like, okay, so yeah, we gotta do gay stuff to, but no, like, are you not choosing that? Like what? Okay, Lil Nas X. If Lil Nas suck his dick, you can be like, you gay anyway.
Are you asking me something?
You feel? Or what if a story comes out that Lil Nas X is only gay because his parents were industry people and they wanted him to get famous, so they crossed him over transgender, whatever, at an early age or something like that. Then we go, oh wow, the industry real crazy then, right? You feel me? Like then we'll question it. But like, and then we talk about all the drill, certain artists that is promoting some stuff, but we never hear any examples of good versions of hip hop. We had a little splash of hope with Chance was an industry plant. So we didn't really give him no credit. So what's a good representation?
You keep going out.
Yeah, I think his connection keep going in and out. But to piggyback off of that, what are some good connections of hip hop?
I'm gonna say the positive that I see when artists do get signed. Like for instance, my daughter, she got a chance to go around and talk to the youth and tell them positive things, And I always feel like artists, when they become motivational speakers, which some of them are, that's definitely a positive thing. But even though they're not able to tell them the whole thing, and that's just it. If you can't tell me the whole story, I kind of don't want to hear the rest of it. You know what I'm saying? If you're only going to tell me, hey, don't do this, but you're not going to tell me why not to, then what are you actually treating me? So mentally, you're not really helping me. So I'm not going to say, I don't know. I'm sure there is positive things. I mean, people get their money, they can go do positive things if they choose to. They can start businesses, they can help charities, they can do all these things, which some artists do. And which is really, like Waka Flocka. He started a whole farm. He got a whole farm thing going on with cattle and all this old stuff here. So I mean, I look at that's a positive thing. But even Waka Flocka himself said he wasn't a he got tired of all that because when you sign, when they say it's levels to the shit, it's levels. You get signed, you just at the tip of the bird. You ain't got to the other levels of the stuff that needs to be done. And the higher you go up, there's nothing positive about it. I'm just gonna be 1,000 about it. There's nothing positive about it. We got positive artists that they won't give a chance to speak out. And I really wish they would just come out and say, all of us positive rappers, we got something to say, man, speak out. Like, which the man, they don't wanna he be having a crazy eye sometimes. What's his name?
Forrest Whitaker?
He's out of California. He's out of California.
I know
And he
him.
be speaking a lot of positive stuff, but they don't want to give him the time of the day. But he one of the coldest rappers out here.
Crazy.
I can't think of his name right now, but
I
yeah, he be putting them contacts in his eyes, something looking crazy. But anyway, he's a good positive influence. But the Hopkins, Hopkins. If you actually listen to Hopkins, and everybody can say, "Oh, he's dark, and he's this and he's that," positive. Y'all might not think so, but I spoke with him before, so I can speak on it.
So first of all, I wanted to say
that
that Forrest Whitaker comment was hilarious. But I'm glad we found our way to the actual artist. That was funny. But I also wanted to give an ode and a creed to Black culture, to African culture, to African American culture. This is what I wanted to say. Black is beautiful. We are creative. We are unique. We are gifted. We're talented. We're skillful without an industry. So the thing is, and my word of the night, especially when it comes down to music, and especially when it comes down to the industry, is capitalization. So the industry has capitalized off of that which is good. And so if we go back to the spiritual tip, in which we are spiritual beings, so we can't separate it anyway. But in regards to the gifting and the music, the scripture says that the gift comes without repentance. So we can have the gift regardless of whether it's tainted, good, or bad. Regardless of how we use it, we have the gift. We got the juice. The world knows it. We have the melanin, we got the juice. So a lot of times it's not the person and it's not the gift, but it is what's being done with the gift, right? And so I think about people like Chance the Rapper. Dig him, cool. Where is he? I don't see him. So yes, I think that hip hop, and Sister said it was fun at a certain time. Before you hopped on, we were confirming that very same thing in different ways. Like back in the 80s, back in the 90s, Kool and the Gang, etc. Xavier was talking about it. It was great. It was cool. It was Gucci. It was fresh. But over time, there has been a progression where it has become more and more tainted. And that attributes to Hollywood, to the industry of what it has to be. And like what you were saying, NeNe, there's levels to this. Yeah, you can break in, you can sign your name, but after that, in order to be the greatest, you got to do something else. I can go to the gym, but unless I, have some kind of, diet, supplement, some consistency with that thing, I ain't gonna get pumped up the way the brother on the right side of me is pumped up because he's been doing this for 3-4 months or 3 or 4 years. You understand? It's levels to it.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, what's his name up there? The one with the blue hat on?
Xavier.
Xavier.
Xavier. You was the one talking about when the industry had that meeting for his hip hop, right?
Right.
The agenda behind it. I want to say this, and I'm sorry, y'all. It might not seem like I have a lot of positive things. I can say positive things about black folks all day. I
All day
can,
long.
but we're talking about
No,
the
you
hip
good.
hop
You good. Keep doing
thing.
your thing. Keep doing your thing. Just keeping it real. Keep doing your thing.
Bring it.
When they made, because I'm in it, and I'm in it deep, so
Absolutely.
I know a lot, honestly. And when they had this meeting, when they brought the artists in to have this meeting, this is what let's get on the mental thing. Not only did they change the agenda of the hip hop community, they capitalized on how we thugs and we this and we that. They used the prison for, they did a contract with them, with the rappers. Now, some of our known rappers is getting money off of black folks going to jail
Absolutely.
because they are part of that investment. They're part of that investment, and that goes to that. What the heck going on here? That hold on, y'all, let me stop the phone here.
Yeah.
That goes to a mental thing. Now you know if we all black, right? We all black,
Mm-hmm.
and we know the younger generation finna come into this music industry.
Yeah.
The younger generation coming into the music industry. Somebody keep calling my phone, and we knowing if we use gangster rap, it's gonna capitalize to where these folks is gonna be coming to jail and these folks get money. These folks get money every time somebody go to jail. This is why they allow the killing and all that stuff to be more in videos. And these young
Right.
folks, they don't give two shits about their music, but they allowing them to display these guns. They allowing them to kill people just so they can be carrying they butt to prison and make money off of it. And which
Right.
is really crazy because artists that we like, they on this same very contract saying, yeah, brother, when you go to jail, I'm getting a percentage off of you finna go to jail.
You finna. Yep.
You know, I
And,
can't say
and
that
that's
that's
just
not
now we
impossible
gonna get
because
on mental. Go ahead.
Absolutely.
Go ahead, Ruby.
future. I mean, was it Future? No, it was 2 Chainz came out and he said he don't drink lean or smoke weed, but yet that's what he do with his music and stuff. So he's like,
Oh,
that's yeah.
right.
He remember that? Y'all remember that interview?
Yep.
Yeah.
I was like,
Wow.
So,
Wow.
I
maybe
just
that's why we
think
think
that
people are
they
clones when they
need
come out
more.
of jail. Because I mean, Gucci had a big belly. I mean, if they clone that man, hey, I don't know. Jail sound like it's
Man,
a.
Gucci is a clone. That is not our Gucci. I wish people would stop saying
Listen,
that.
I'm telling you, that is not guwap at all.
That is not Guwap at all. That is not that man. And they need to stop lying. Gucci is a clone. And this is why when his ass got married, none of his homeboys was at that wedding because they know that wasn't the real Gucci. Period.
I
Wow.
think even one of his cousins said, "Nah, my cousin dead." And I mean and I think going back to your question, Ruby, even outside of the hip hop industry, I mean just Hollywood. I think Travis touched on it, Hollywood as a whole. You know, is that kind of deceptive. I think Anthony, it goes back to our Grammys conversation too,
Exactly.
as far as just the entertainment industry, period, man. I mean, even Dave Chappelle, when he went to Africa and then all of a sudden he came back after 10 years, and even one of his family members said, no, that's not my cousin, that's a clone too. And I think, it's just the whole deceptive industry as far as if there's any good. And I know going even when you said earlier, Ruby, about, I think we deal with a small slice. I think a lot of people, just that small remnant, I think deal with that small slice because that's what's being thrown in our face. That's what's being
Rejected.
that's what's being given to us.
Yeah.
So I mean, like for example, I know a recent rapper. I don't really listen to a lot of recent rap because I don't really understand what they be saying. But Mo3, a recent rapper, I absolutely loved him. I didn't come in, to knowledge of him until after he passed. But you know, when I look at some of his old videos, and he was kind of talking about, yeah, I want to come in and I want to, you know, expose the evils of this industry, about the politics and stuff like this. But then all of a sudden, few months later, then he start with the whole gangster everything, and come to find out, he passed, I think, in 2021. He signed a promotion deal with one of these companies who actually had he took out a life insurance on him. Right. So I mean, you know, going back to what NeNe said about the prison and even, you know, the life insurances, man, I think like it's sad because, you know, like we said, we can talk about the goodness of, you know, the creativity of Black people all day, but they capitalize, what Travis said, off of what goes on in our community. They go get these young men who's been through a lot and say, listen, sign this, I give you $1 million right now. To them, hey, I can take care of my mama, I can take care of my homies, I can take care of, you know, everything that's going on. Yeah, but that come with a price. And I think that it takes forums like this and, you know, what other people do to say, hey, this was going on. And I love it because, you know, you got Travis and NeNe who's creative in the music arena. They've seen it, they know it. And for them to be able to say, no, this is what's up, this is what's really going on. Like, I think it takes that, because a lot of people I look at and they say, man, nah, that's crazy, that stuff ain't really going on. Like, them, and for them, for people who's been in it to say, no, this is what's going on, I've seen it, this is A, B, and C of it. I think that's what it takes to deal with that small slice, because you've got, like I said, the young men who I work with, those people who look up to these people, and I've seen them grow up with depressions and being suicidal, because in a music plays a big part of that.